G'day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the power to protect the Cherished Super Saiyan 4 Gohan, a unit that recently got his his Dokkan Awakening during the Super Dragon Ball Heroes campaign. So Gohan's one of the Heroes units I think people were most excited to see get a Dokkan Awakening, and he's got a pretty good one. Overall, he is a Giant Ape category lead of 150%, which is pretty good. He raises attack and defense for one turn and causes immense damage to the enemy and massively lowers their defense. He has attack and defense of 200% with damage reduction of 50% when there are 2 or more Giant Ape power category units. This is relatively easy to do on most of his teams. Then he gets an additional defense of 50% and a high chance of stunning the attacked enemy when performing a super attack. He has an additional attack of 100% when there is another crossover category ally attacking in the same turn. All pretty solid stuff. He has Saiyan Warrior Race, Super Saiyan, experienced fighters, the Saiyan lineage, prepared for battle, Saiyan Raw, and Shattering the Limit as his links, and he has Hybrid Saiyans, Time Travelers, Goku's Family, Siblings Bond, Dragon Ball Heroes, Giant Ape Power, Crossover, Defender of Justice, Power Beyond Super Saiyan, Bond of Parent and Child, and Warriors Raised on Earth as his categories. So pretty decent stuff overall. He obviously links up relatively well, or pretty much great, with any of the Super Saiyan 4 units, but he is also just a fairly consistent unit. Requiring only 2 Giant Ape Power units is really not that big a deal, so Gohan looks pretty solid. We're going to be trying him out on the crossover team, because that is the team where he does look best, and he has a 200% lead. So overall, we will be getting a pretty decent look at Gohan on this team. So as a unit, obviously 200% attack and defense is pretty nice. The gaining of 50% defense is pretty good as well on Super. I think overall he's a pretty strong unit. Obviously you do want to have the Giant Ape Power units to get that 50% damage reduction, but with a couple of strong Giant Ape Power units, not including the SS4 LRs, I think overall it's a pretty decent bet. Gohan, here I have one dupe in him, he's 69%, and we've got quite a few links active with the Strength Bardock on the team. We have support on the rotation, and Gohan's defense is just over 200k, which is pretty good. It's pretty solid. It's a great starting point. His links are pretty good as well. If you link level them, he gets defense from Saiyan Raw, Shattering the Limit, and Prepared for Battle, which is all pretty good, as well as also getting them from the Saiyan lineage. So yeah, overall he's pretty good. I would say he's really quite consistent. I don't think he's in any way, shape or form a bad unit. I think he's really just a super consistent unit that is really quite solid in most conditions. I do think there is possibly a little bit of a concern with his starting defense, just considering the low stats of the Dragon Ball Heroes units, but with link leveling and with dupes, that doesn't become as much of a problem as it might be without those things. So yeah, overall he looks really solid. I personally think he's quite good, and yeah, I think he looks really decent. He looks good overall, and I don't think there's any issues with his kit. I think he's generally quite versatile. I do think the Giant Ape restriction isn't that bad. I think overall he looks pretty good. Here we can see him without support, and you can see that the defense does drop. You can see that the attack will drop, but generally still at pretty good levels, I would say. Nothing crazy. He's not busting out huge numbers, but he's looking, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say, without all the added bonuses, he still looks pretty decent. He still looks like a solid maybe 7 out of 10 plus the 50% damage reduction. Pretty good stuff overall, at least for me. I think if you are looking at units, I do think Gohan is a reliable unit. I think he's a very strong, very consistent unit. I think if you're a player that needs a tank, he can definitely be a very, very, very solid tank. So yeah, overall I would say Gohan is a very, very consistent option. I do think he's a unit that you should look into as just in general, as a unit that players might be interested in utilizing. I just think in general he's fairly consistent. Obviously link wise, Saiyan Warrior Race, Super Saiyans, Experienced Fighters, Saiyan Lineage, Prepared for Battle, Saiyan Raw, and Shattering the Limit are decent links. Very much Great Ape orientated. We don't have to lie and pretend that he's not Great Ape orientated, but 100% is still a very, very solid unit. You don't need a lot to make him work. You just need Saiyan Lineage, Prepared for Battle, or Super Saiyan really, and generally those are quite easy to find. Saiyan Raw is probably the best link. Overall, I would say Saiyan Raw is probably one of the top links overall. Obviously with the fact that it gives 10% defense, it's pretty solid. But yeah, in general I would say he's got a fairly consistent, fairly reliable link set that just in general is something that I would say is good. I don't think it's bad, I think it's good. I think it's just very solid, and I think yeah, in general you shouldn't really have a huge problem with it. Obviously you still can. I think that's apparent for most people, but I think in general just pretty good stuff. But yeah, links up great with SS4 units, as is apparent, and in like most cases you should be able to make him work on pretty much any team. I think all his major teams have 2 Giant Ape power units that you can use. So yeah, I think overall he's really, really solid. But of course that's just my thoughts on the unit. It's not entirely up to me, it's up to quite a few people. It's generally speaking a, I would say, relatively consistent experience. So yeah, for me, very, very good. And yeah, that's it from me. So I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed the video, and of course I will see you guys in the very next one. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Gohan, and of course I think, at least from my perspective as a unit, Gohan's probably one of my favorite Super Dragon Ball Heroes units. I think he's just fairly consistent. I think he gives everything you need, and I think he's just versatile. But yeah, that's it from me. Bye.